You're not supposed to swim in a green pool.
You're not supposed to drink water out of a hose. Like, come on.
You're going to get a brain-eating amoeba, and I'm going to be a single
Nothing's
mom.
getting through this body.
No, you're either going to turn...
My body, my temple, my fortress.
The next season of The Last of Us.
And welcome back to Give It To Me Straight.
I'm Alex.
And I'm John.
And
we're your gracious hosts. Much better. Much better.
Happy Tuesday, John.
Happy Tuesday, my lady.
How are you feeling?
Great. Actually, I might have to take a shit at some point and have to stop this podcast.
You knew it. That's why you were like, I
feel it's bubbling up. I shouldn't have ate right before.
You didn't eat that much, though.
I know. It doesn't matter.
And you even stopped yourself.
A little in, a lot out.
Is that not IBS? Like the
Probably.
second that you sniff food, your bowels are like, it's time to take a shit.
We're eating Indian food. I'm like all over the place. Did you see what I put together in there? It was like that etto pepe pasta, the little balls of pasta. That I made that like a week ago. I finished that off. Oh, sorry. So I got the pasta from last week, little ground turkey I made like 4 days ago, and then I threw in the last of the Indian takeout.
You don't care about flavor profiles. Like if we're at a restaurant, John is asking for every condiment that they own.
I don't care. Yeah.
Hot sauce on everything. Ranch, everything.
When fajitas come and you know you get the plate of like the stuff you put in, like the rice, the guacamole,
cream.
all that stuff. A pro tip is you just stir it all together.
No.
That way you just slop it onto your fajita.
No, because you I want to enjoy the flavors of the things in bites. Like, yes, you could mix it slightly.
What do you mean? You're mixing it once you
But you're making it like into a soup. Like
it's not a soup. It's
yeah,
a paste.
You are. Exactly.
And I scoop it, throw it on there.
It comes in as a paste
I'm
and it
saving
goes
time.
out as a paste.
I hope. What's new? What's new this week? I'll start.
How do you? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I'm going to start. You know, coming from a privileged standpoint, we have a pool at our house. And I want to first start by saying I didn't want a pool. The house came with a pool. I fucking hate pools because I don't know anything about them. Alex, like, I'll take care. I'll do it. She hasn't done a fucking thing with the pool. So we opened the pool in May, and it's July now, and we've been in the pool twice.
Whereas last year at this time, we used the pool almost every day. It did help with my depression.
Yeah.
That's probably why.
Sure. Yeah, it did.
It did.
And buoyancy.
Yeah. I was like, I'm feeling a panic attack coming on. I'm just going to go dive to the bottom of the pool. It did help. We use it every day.
The pool is nice, I guess. Whatever. Anyways.
Yeah,
so
what the fuck are you talking about? You love it. You also use it all the time. And if it wasn't green like Shrek's swamp is right now, you would be using it.
Get out of my swamp.
You know what the other thing is before John gets into this story? He doesn't care if there's algae in the pool. And tell me if I'm wrong. I grew up with a pool.
It's not a public pool. It's just you and me going in it.
You're not supposed to swim in a green pool.
You're not supposed to drink water out of a hose. Like, come on.
You're going to get a brain-eating amoeba, and I'm going to be a single mom.
Nothing's getting through this body.
No, you're either going to turn...
My body, my temple, my fortress.
The next season of The Last of Us. Hopefully better than this past season. That's what's going to happen when you go into the pool with algae. I'm almost positive, and actually fact check me. Can you swim in a pool with algae? Because I'm pretty sure it's not recommended.
It's not like growing like swamp thing in the pool. There's a little algae at the bottom. Algae at the bottom of the pool. It's just a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to my story.
Okay.
We've been in the pool twice. Pool's leaking. Could never figure out why it was leaking. Had to pay for that. Every time, again, the chemicals are off, so we have someone coming in to do the pool because we don't know how to do that. So it's just every time we open the pool, it costs money. Most recently, besides the filter being clogged up, that was another service. Alex calls me because she's like, I'm going to put the little machine in the pool that cleans.
Because the pool, I want to use the pool, and I'm like, listen, if John's not going to do it, you were supposed to do it. I was like, I'll do it. So I'm like,
how would you put it in?
What do you mean? It connects into the hose hole, and you turn it and you let it run its course.
So you don't shut anything off before you put the Polaris thing in there?
Yeah, you do. I know how to use a
Which
system
one
in the back.
What do you shut off? What are you supposed to shut off?
Whatever is system off.
Yeah, you don't know.
Filter off. I figure it out.
Filter off.
Figure it out.
I think you're the one who fucked the pool up.
I didn't. You're the one who turned the filter off when it's supposed to be running, and that's why it turned green.
Anyway, so she's looking for this little machine called a Polaris, and she goes, "Where's the pool cover?" And in my head, I'm like, "I think it's in the garage." And she's like, "No, it's not in the garage."
Because last year it took up, it's huge. It took up like the whole space. They still roll it up, but it was like, it took up like half our garage.
So I'm at the gym and I'm thinking, I'm like, no fucking way. So when they opened the pool in May, I asked them to take the pool cover and drag it down to like the garage, like in the driveway, because it was wet. So I wanted it to dry out. And it's so heavy, I know that I'll be able to just drag it into the garage when it dries, no problem. Well, I forgot about it. I left it out overnight, and the trash guys picked it up and threw it out.
They thought it was a tarp.
They thought it was a tarp, threw it out, and that's on me. And let's
talk about it, Jon.
What makes it worse is I got a quote, and they said between $8,000 and $10,000 for a new pool cover, and the pool cover is new. I'm beside myself.
I can't wait to just like use this moment for when like I want to buy something and just be
We can't afford it.
well, when we make up for the funds that you lost for this pool cover, because the issue is too, it's a custom pool cover. Like we have one of those weird shapes. But what's nice about them is like when they are new and when you don't throw them away, apparently they're like strong enough to hold a whole elephant. So
I think we implode the pool.
No.
Just throw dirt in there, level it off, and put like a putting green up there or something. Oh,
you would never use that. You hate golf.
I'll put a archery up there and shoot arrows at my neighbors.
I was going to say we have deer, but I would kill you if you did anything to the deer.
Anyway, so that's what happened this week. And now every time I look at the pool, I just look at a money pit, and it makes me not enjoy the pool.
Well, because summer's going to go by quick, and we're going to have to close the pool soon. So it's like we should probably start getting on the pool cover. Like, what are you going to do? Or do people not cover their pools? Because in California, a lot of people don't have pool covers.
Well, it's going to freeze either way, I'm assuming, right? The pool water? Does it freeze?
Yeah, well, I mean, if it gets cold enough.
Unless the pool cover insulates it. But what if we just get tarps and center block around the pool? What's the worst it's just gonna have more leaves and shit in the pool?
I don't know what the point of covering a pool is, because every time you open it, it's filled with
dirty.
shit anyway. But maybe it just keeps it from being filled with less shit, or maybe it's a safety thing.
But what if somebody...
We have a fence around our pool.
True, so we're not liable. It's like somebody...
No, that guy, remember
I was going to bring it up. I was going to see if you were.
Yeah.
That guy was hiding?
Yeah. So if you don't know what we're talking about, some guy was on the run for killing his dad. They found him months later in a pool, dead, after the homeowners took off the pool cover because he hid sometime in the winter, I guess passed away from hypothermia.
For sure.
I don't know. But yeah, maybe it's better than if we don't cover it, because then we could see to make sure that there's no one hiding.
I feel like I remember the like helicopter footage of like a cop putting his ear to the pool, or like around, like he thought he heard something.
I think I don't remember that.
I think there is video footage of it.
Okay.
All right, what else?
What else from the week?
Yeah.
Well,
we had a really good week. We had a lot of positive feedback on our announcement. It was very
we
nice.
Officially announced. So like we had announced last week, and I mean, again, I think I still stand the same, like where I thought maybe that would help me take a step forward to be a little bit more excited, or I don't want to say hopeful, but I still have that feeling of a little bit of dread. But I just don't think I'll honestly be able to take a sigh of relief.
Don't kill the vibes right now. I'm wearing a fun shirt.
Jon,
we're having a fun day.
Do you know what
I got sad on the last episode. Let's just keep it light.
It's going to be a little difficult, because do you know what we're talking about today?
No.
Grief.
Why? Just so everyone knows, I walk into every podcast episode not knowing a fucking thing.
You want it that way. You say, surprise me. And so I go,
this is so depressing. We're talking about grief.
Well, it's about how to support people who are grieving. And I do think that's an important conversation, Jon. One of the top questions that we've gotten is how to support people while they're grieving. And to be fair, if we hadn't gone through it, I don't know that I would be able to show up for someone in the best way. But now we know. But we don't have to get into it yet. Give me some more updates, Jon.
No, you ruined it.
Oh, I ruined it. My bad.
We're already depressed. Let's make it more depressing.
I'm not depressed. You're just always in a bad mood. That's not my
in a
problem.
bad. What are you talking about? I'm not in a bad mood.
Look at you. You just look
I have
angry.
my fun shirt
I'm
on.
happy. What's so
Look
fun
at
about
you.
your shirt?
You just look moody right now.
I'm trying to balance so that I'm on the same level as you.
I feel like we swapped roles. I'm
What's
like
so happy about
I'm
your
glass
shirt?
half full.
You can't even say
I'm
that.
glass half full. I'm happy, optimistic, and you're a Debbie Downer.
No, since
That's
when?
you are.
Why? How is
What do
me
you mean,
trying
why?
to-
Why- don't
how
ask
is-
me
how
why.
is me trying to help people being a Debbie Downer?
Just in general.
I'm literally the least Debbie Downer. Mr. Complain all day. You threw the pool cover away and I didn't even get mad at you. I was just like, wow. Oh well, expensive mistake. Like I could rip you to shreds if I want. But I won't.
Okay.
Because you know what I am, Jon?
Perfect.
I'm forgiving.
You're perfect.
Thank you. I'm forgiving though. Which you aren't. If I did that, you would never let me live it down.
Probably not.
Exactly.
But
And
just
that
so you
makes
know,
that makes you a bad person.
the pool is both of our job, not just mine, which you said in the beginning, I'll deal with the pool.
I know how to turn the buttons on for the hot tub and you don't. So that's
Just, there's cameras all around our house and pointing down in our driveway, you could see the tarp. So you could have
Jon, I don't check
had
the
some
cameras.
proactive approach
You're the
too.
one who's obsessed with the cameras. I don't check the cameras. I could be swarmed with people
I'm
who
in
are
my
about
Eagle's
to
nest.
rob me.
I'm
and
in my
I would
Eagle's
have
nest.
no clue. I would be sitting on the couch with Kobe watching Love Island.
I already dug a tunnel. I'm out. Escape artist.
Yeah.
Done. Gone.
Jon is out of town and he's texting me who's at the door. And I'm like, someone's at the door? I have no idea.
Your survival skills are 0.
10. You know why? Because I don't worry until I have to worry.
Always got to.
You're always worrying.
I'm always watching my surroundings.
No, you're
I know.
always-
I know everything that's going
But
on.
that's why you're so stressed all the time is because you're always worried.
Because I'm that way, that's the only reason that you're not stressed. You're like, oh, whatever, Jon will. But you know what the difference is? When we go on trips, I don't give
Oh my
a
God.
fuck.
Jon turns his brain off. It's like usually it's the other way around. Like I see videos of like wives or women who are just like, oh my God, when I'm on vacation with my husband, I get to.
I don't plan it.
Would get lost. We walk into the airport and I'm like, you know what? Let me just see if Jon even knows which way the gate is. He starts walking towards the exit. I'm like, where are you going? He's like, to TSA, to pre-check. I'm like, okay, have fun outside of the airport. I'm going this way. You don't look at signs. You don't look at anything.
I'm on vacation mode.
Okay, well that's
Even if it's work trip, I'm on vacation mode.
it's a balance, Jon. That's why we work out
That's right.
together.
Perfect.
We're the perfect match.
Something like that.
Do you think that you would couple up with me on Long
Don't
Island?
know what that means.
On Love Island?
Speaking of Long Island, I still can't go into the city by myself. I don't know how to use the trains. I don't know how to use the railroad service, the subway.
I'll teach you.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm fine here.
Okay.
You just go in yourself.
But then again, like one day goes by and you're like, I hate it here. Let's move to the city.
I'll never be happy.
I know. Except with me, right?
All right, what's next?
Okay, well, let's get into it. So today we are talking about grief.
Sweet.
Because I think that we have some experience with grief these days. But one of the top questions that we did get, and a lot of it, we got a lot of questions about grief, healing, loss, just in general, like across the board, not just when it comes to infant loss or child loss or pregnancy loss. So we're going to go through that, but a lot of them were repeat questions. So we're just going to ask like the top ones that we got.
That you. Oh yeah, we got, but you.
They all say
I don't know.
Alex and Jon, but I mean, if you want people to just start talking.
No,
I mean,
it's
like,
both of us.
Jon, this could be my show, really.
It is. It is your show. I'm just here.
Dude,
I'm just a vessel.
listening back to the last episode, I was like, did I let you talk? Because every
No.
time we scrubbed through, it was only me. I was trying to get to a part where Jon was talking, and it was only me.
But you know what? I was drained.
Yeah, I know.
I was tired.
Because you listened to me. You
I'm active listening for until questions are read.
have to. All right,
trying.
we're getting into questions. You have to
I'm
pay
ready.
attention.
I'm ready.
Are you, Mr. Fun Shirt? Okay. So
I
the
probably would
question-
be more into it if it wasn't depressing that what we were about to talk about. But let's go.
It's not. I think it's more helpful. But
Can
like,
we just put a disclaimer that like down the road, the episodes won't be so like sad.
I can't help that I have a very depressing chapter of my life right now. Hence why I did wear all black. Not, it's really just a coincidence, but okay.
You can't tell if you're sweating.
That's true.
Yeah, I do.
I'm not really that hot right now, though.
I'm wearing
Thankfully,
black shorts because
I know your ass sweats a lot. Thankfully, I'm not in that stage of pregnancy yet where I'm like on fire, but
I heard, yeah, you're supposed to like sweat a lot.
I sweat a lot all the time anyway, so I don't think it will be very different for me. So I don't notice me sweating any more than I normally do. But I do notice, you know what, let's just move
First
on.
question, let's go.
What were some of the most helpful and kind things people did for you and said while you were grieving? I'm wondering how to support others experiencing similar loss.
I'll go first, just because I don't want you to steal the one thing that I can think of.
John, when
I know,
we
but
do
half
these
the time,
questions, I give you the floor first, always.
unless I say you first. Got it.
No, you never say.
I have. I go, well, what do you think?
No, you say that. You say like when you go on a really long rant, you're like, "Well, are you gonna help me? Or are you gonna say anything?" I can't win. Okay, you have the floor, John.
Okay. I think like some of my friends who just automatically sent us something, right? Not saying I needed anything, but instead of, and we've talked about this a lot, and I actually catch myself now not even saying anything, like, let me know if you need anything. Just do something instead. Because then it's like you're putting in that person's court, like they need to reach out to you. Like if you know someone's in pain and grief, whatever, and you truly want to help them, just a small gesture helps you, whether it's like an Uber Eats card or, I don't know, chocolate strawberries or some shit. I mean, you like those. But I think it's that means more than words.
Just acting on something. Because I think it takes a lot of brain space for someone who's grieving to try to think. Like, they're going to be like, I'm good, thank you. Like, they're not going to say, hey, I could really use some help with grocery shopping or running errands, or I don't feel like cooking tonight. You know, would you mind bringing me dinner over?
Right.
I think you just have to give them a solution and give them the opportunity to say yes or no, or choose what they are interested in.
You're taking something off their plate, which is like huge.
So I actually, for this question, made a list because I was like, there's a lot of things, but it's not a super long list.
Of course you did, yeah.
Well, do you want to help? So you said food. That's a good one. It's just like get them a meal.
Acts of service.
Or acts of service. Like offer. Don't even offer. I think you just say, hey, I'm mowing my lawn. I'm coming over, when works for you. Or just send them an Uber Eats gift card so that they don't have to worry about a meal. If you're not close to just like send them a home cooked meal. But I think when sending messages, the top thing that I loved was when people would say, no need to respond, but XYZ. Because you get flooded with messages and then you feel like you need to respond back to everyone and say, thank you so much, or I appreciate it. And it's like, just to be given the permission to not respond is very nice because, and also from the other side, don't expect a response. If someone is grieving, they might not have the mental capacity to respond. Another one is don't try to fix things. Don't start sentences with at least or solutions because
oh God, I've done that.
Like, I know.
At least they're in a better place.
Yeah. And those, the thing is, again, with grief, you cannot fix the reason why they're hurting. Someone passed away. You cannot bring them back. So by trying to create a solution to their pain, it's not helpful because the only thing that would help their pain is if that person didn't pass away or they didn't experience this loss.
But, you're being informative right now, which is good, but gives these people a little credit for even you messaging someone, you're putting some sort of effort in and it's better than nothing.
Right.
And some people don't know what to say.
No, and that's what I'm saying though is just showing up is great. And again, I was this person prior to experiencing grief. I didn't know. And you don't know until you know. But so these are just, again, some tools. Use them if you want or not. But I just think not trying to solve their problems for them. I think just validating their feelings, sitting with them and just being like, yeah, this fucking sucks. Like, how can I support you? Another one, which again, didn't think, and if you've done this, still a thoughtful gesture. Flowers was the hardest thing to get because they die. We had so many dead flowers to deal with.
Well, that's the other it doesn't even matter if it's flowers or not, because even so the getting strawberries or whatever, anything is a reminder. So you can counter the
No. My thing is
that's subjective. That's different, because even getting the chocolate covered strawberries from
but
my
you
friend,
eat those. You look at flowers and then they die.
subjective. That's subjective, because still it's like, you think you're like, because some of us just want to forget or not be daily reminder.
So you're saying don't send anything?
No, I'm just saying, like, there's two sides to that coin, right? Because it's like, oh, say like 2 weeks go by and then you get something in the mail. It's like, it's just bringing it back.
I don't think so at all. I mean, but again, to each their own. And maybe that's like what you need to ask someone is, how to show up. But I think that if you're going to send something, try to be creative outside of things other than flowers, because it's not comforting. They're pretty to look at, but then they die. And then this person has to now like trash these dead flowers. For me, the things that I enjoyed getting were, aside from food, because I was, consumable things, were like candles or just things that made me feel like cozy and loved. So just like treats, candles, food, just coffee, teas, things that were very comforting and cozy, as opposed to just something that was pretty to look at, but I couldn't actually use. And then again, if it's like on an anniversary maybe, but when it just happens, people are flooded with flowers. And that's just my personal take on things
Well, I think two things could be right at the same time. What's the
two things could be true at once.
Yeah, right at the same time.
That's what I'm saying.
Because it's like, you can be like, I like all those things, like getting like, I appreciate it, but at the same time, it's still sad because it's still just a reminder of like I lost something. I don't know. Like you're gonna have both feelings. You can have them at the same time too.
All I'm saying so you're saying you don't want anything in the mail.
No.
But if people are sending
but some
you
people
something,
do. But some people do.
But if people are sending you
I don't
something,
want anything. I don't want anything.
You would rather flowers?
No, I don't want anything.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do understand what you're saying, but you're also subjective too. You're just talking about flowers. I get that. But you could literally look at flowers. You could look at consumables at the same thing. They're like people gifting you something that in turn still... Are you not agreeing with me? Like, because at the same time...
I'm saying if you're thinking of sending something,
but some people like flowers. Some people want flowers. Like, I wouldn't say flowers is bad. Some people generally love flowers.
Okay. You know what? I'll go fuck myself. Send flowers. I didn't love getting all these flowers, but Jon loves flowers.
No,
Send
I didn't.
Jon flowers.
I didn't like getting all the flowers. I didn't like getting all the sweet
that's
treats.
what we're going to talk about later, though, is people just grieve differently. So like...
Well, I don't know what we're talking about later, so cool.
You do. This is all about grief. Okay, another way that I say to show up for other ones. I mean, apparently these tips are fucking horrible, so I don't know why I even made a goddamn list. Include them. Don't assume that they don't want to do things because they're grieving. Still invite them out. AKA, if you're having a gender reveal party, people who just lost their baby might not go, but they would still love the invite.
Yeah, inside joke. So
inside joke. Yeah.
Don't assume.
Don't assume. Don't assume that you know how someone...
Well, let's be honest. You're not doing it for us. You're doing it for yourself because you don't want it to be uncomfortable at your event.
Perhaps. I don't know. Or again, like if someone just recently lost their dad, like, and you're hosting a Father's Day brunch, like, I think it'd be really nice to still offer the option to that friend who just went through this loss. Hey, I'm hosting this thing. I know this might be hard for you. Invitation is open. I completely understand if you don't want to come.
Yeah.
Leave it in their court to decide like what they do and don't want to do. I think you might think that you're protecting them by not inviting them to something or not including them in some holiday or some event or, whatever is going on. But I think, again, everybody has a different grieving process. Some people just want to forget. Some people do want to avoid those triggers, but you really have to leave it up to them. Don't just assume. The other way to show up for a grieving loved one is remembering important dates, but you probably don't like that because you don't want to be reminded. But I really appreciated when people would remember important dates and just say,
I guess we're both just completely different. Like, I don't need any help grieving or remembering anything. I'll do it myself. I don't know. I'm just that person. Like some people are like that. I don't need to be reminded. Like I know.
But I think then to my next point, it's follow their lead. Like if someone then sets a boundary and
Yes.
it's like, hey, I don't need you to remind me, or I don't need you to check in. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. But I think that's what it is too, like follow their lead. And maybe if like you're trying to support someone who's grieving and say, I'm looking for you. It's hard because it's like you don't want to put the mental load on them and be like, I'm looking for you to lead me like how you would like me to support you. But I think by just saying, let me know how I can support you, offer ways to support, again, like food for Jon specifically, flowers.
Oh, I just want you to know, I think you're giving really, really great advice. Like I really do think you are. And that's for a lot of people. But again, I'm different and there are people like me that doesn't work. So lead by example is great. I'm starting to just think about how did I heal, I guess, and us doing our dark.
I'll tell you,
How?
he didn't.
Okay. I just think us getting ahead of it. Like I don't like the uncomfortableness of the situation. I don't want people to feel sorry for me. It's my trauma, right? It's my pain, and I'll deal with it how I see fit by myself internally. I don't want other people to treat me differently. I don't want other people to, like act a certain way. And I think when we made our videos and did dark humor, like it made me feel good because I felt like we were just getting ahead of it and making other people feel like it was okay to like laugh with us and just take the edge off. Am I saying like, does that make sense?
No, I mean, I think creating like our dark sense of humor helped like alleviate the tension or the elephant in the room. But that's one thing too that like personally, when I was grieving, that I noticed was some people just avoid conversation about it. And I'm like, it almost makes it more awkward. I would rather you address it and just say like, I'm so sorry for your loss. Like,
every situation is different. Yeah, I could see that too.
Again, and it also depends on who you are. Because if I'm walking into a group of people who I'm not sure, I don't want to fucking talk about it. I don't know you guys. I'm walking into a work event. Like we don't have to talk about it. But if it's friends who I haven't seen in a while, at least like since the loss, to just pretend like it didn't happen is almost more painful because I'm like, I just want you to acknowledge it. And after experiencing people who didn't address it, and they'd be like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want to hurt you. And I'm like, I've already been through the worst pain. Yeah. You bringing it up is not going to hurt me any more than it did. Like, and again, depending on who you are and how you grieve, I don't mind talking about it. Like I am fine bringing it up to my friends. Like I want you to ask how I am, but I just think avoiding it and pretending like it didn't happen, depending on your relationship with this person, isn't always the best option either, although it's uncomfortable for you. And sometimes the only thing, if you don't know what to say that and say, I don't know what to say, but I'm here for you and I love you. That's it. Like just that simple.
Is that your list?
Yeah, for things of how to show up for them. And then I have things not to say, which is like the at least.
I've actually taken this from, I haven't gotten to use it yet, but like Aaron, your friend, who says, do you want advice or do you want me to listen? I just think flat out asking that question and that clears up any confusion and whatnot too. Like just sitting with someone, be like, do you want me to do you want comfort? Do you want me to listen? Do you want me to just sit here? Do you want advice? I think that's a great idea too.
Yeah. Well, because then your place with your friend or whoever it is that you're sitting, and helping them grieve, what you're supposed to do in that moment, which is, I would say 9 out of 10 times, people really just want to vent. They just like want you to listen there. And so just being a good listener. But things not to say, everything happens for a reason. Because...
Are you looking at me like, do I say that?
No. I'm just saying, like, people do say that.
I don't know why the fuck you were looking at me like...
I'm just like, so many people say that, or like, it was God's will.
Is this another inside joke that I'm like, I should be picking up on?
No. But the inside joke that I will give you that you could pick up on is when people say, I'm praying for you. That's another thing not to say. And I think the reason why, and again, prior to this, I would say probably half of these things, like everything happens for a reason. Change that for life is unfair, because it validates this person's feelings without trying to be like, well, everything happens for a reason, because it feels like to you, but not to me. So like, oh, you're allowed to have your child, or you're not allowed to have your child, but I can. You know, everything happens for a reason. Like, you'll get your next one and it will be better than the last one.
Yeah, that's pretty
like,
tone deaf.
So that, because it feels like things didn't work out the way, or things are working out the way they're supposed to, like you're supposed to feel this tragic pain. But as someone who grew up in a very religious family, to me personally, when I would hear "I'm praying for you" from an acquaintance or like a stranger, that's something that I would expect. And I'm like, that's okay. But from someone who's close to you, it felt like they were outsourcing their effort to actually help me or be there for me. It's like, I'm praying for you, saying that. It felt like someone is just saying that to make themselves feel better by letting you know, you're in my thoughts, you're in my prayers. I'm doing the most that I can be doing.
I would love to hear the counter to this, because so many people are out of the woodworks going to try to counter this.
The other issue is too, it's like, you should be, but like, why are you telling me that you're praying for me?
Because they want you to know.
That's my point.
Yeah.
It just feels like you're outsourcing your energy to a higher power, and you're like, I did my job. It's like, but you didn't actually, it's not a tangible thing. And to you, you might think that that's a tangible thing, like prayer. Great. Like, and again, I appreciate it from the larger community of people who don't know you or acquaintances, but from a close family member who truly should be showing up for you in ways like physically being there for you, listening for you. I'm praying for you just feels like such a lazy cop out. In the same breath, if you're talking to someone who is religious, they might be mad at God. Like, they might be mad at whatever higher power that they pray to.
And they're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to remind you about it.
Or like, yeah, because it's like you prayed for a healthy pregnancy and it didn't fucking work. Like, you prayed for so-and-so to not have cancer and they still died anyway. So are you saying that prayers only work for some people and then God's will, everything happens for a reason? I think during times of loss, some people, not everybody, question their faith. And so I think by bringing religion into it, it could be rocky waters.
Whatever, everyone's different. Some people might lean into religion more than others, and that might help them. Each his own. That ain't us.
Right. I just think you have to know who you're communicating with. And
I even still think for them, it's a fucking cop-out. I'm praying for you. Why don't you get off your ass and go fucking help me, be there for me. You praying for me is not, whatever. Again, each his own, but do more.
Again, as people who have gone through a very heavy grief process, it just feels like the other person says it to pat themselves on the back.
Also, this is from experience. We both came from religious households. Mine religious, until 8th grade. But
God, my favorite summers were going to church camp. I fucking love church camp.
Really?
I was a bad one in church camp, but I loved it.
I almost got beat up at church camp.
Really?
Yeah. Some kid took a shit in the urinal, and
that was at church camp?
Yeah. It was actually at my buddy's Presbyterian church camp. I was having fun, and then the cleaners were lined up all the boys because outside the boys' bathroom. I think it was 9 or 10, and he was like, "Which one of you took a shit in the urinal?" And I started laughing so hard.
Guilty.
It wasn't me. And they're like,
guilty.
They took me, put me on the ground facing up, and they made me do this crunch thing, hands to my feet. They made me hold it there for 5 minutes.
You're sure this was church camp?
And they were screaming at me in either ear. They were like, "I know you did it." They're yelling at me. Yeah.
May the power of Christ compel you. They were like, this guy needs an exorcism.
I guess I shouldn't have laughed, but
it doesn't sound very
churchy.
Church-like behavior, but who knows, know?
Are we still in question 1?
We should probably move on before we get canceled from the church people. But, again, I think you just have to understand who you're speaking to, tread lightly in that topic. Again, Don't try to fix her problem.
We don't need this recap summary. They could rewind.
Okay,
to
but
hear
my other thing was going to be don't compare your grief to someone else.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah. I think
That would annoy me.
comparing losses, again, sticky situation, because this person's loss that they've gone through is so unique to themselves. Even if it's like, we both lost our dads, you know, like someone has a different relationship with their dad or might not have lost their dad in the same exact way. So it's just, you can empathize with them, but like, I just think comparing your grief is, just don't do it. Just don't compare your grief. And we did get a question on that, just comparing losses in general, where someone asked, and this was something that we have experienced after losing Leo. And the question is, I had a 16-week miscarriage in March, and I've honestly struggled with this one thing. And let me know if I'm crazy or if you guys have experienced this too. I by no means compare miscarriage by how early or late you lost your baby. Loss is loss, and that hurt is incomparable. But sometimes I feel like I can't talk about the major differences in early versus late loss without someone making me feel like it's all the same, and I shouldn't even insinuate that there's really difficult differences between a 4-week miscarriage and a second trimester or even a stillbirth. Mainly physical differences, for example. I just feel like there's a little conversation on with what happens in a second trimester loss or stillbirth or what that's really like. May just be my perspective. There should be openness on all baby losses regardless of gestation.
Did someone say that to her or something? Is she just like,
well, for example, this summer we were in LA and we had a late term loss, and someone who was in a professional setting asked if we had kids. And I go, oh no, like we had lost our son over the summer. And so this was like a few months after that. And I was like, it was very traumatic. It was late term loss, 26 weeks. And she goes, I know exactly how you're feeling, or like, I know exactly what you've been through. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like someone else who's had a second trimester or close to third trimester loss. She goes, I had an 8-week miscarriage. To be fair, I would never diminish her pain and what she went through. But I would also never compare our loss to someone who lost a living child or someone who went through a full-term stillbirth. And this is why I think comparing is just dangerous, because it's going to make people feel resent towards you. Like, how you don't know what I felt. But what I've learned is someone who's gone through an 8, 9, even a 4-week miscarriage, if that's the worst pain emotionally that they've ever experienced, that's valid for them.
There's a time and place, right? And and her bringing it up right there was not the time.
Well, and again, it's just like you don't know exactly how I'm feeling. Like, I had to deliver a baby, and
where
you
it's
did
open
not.
mic and it's like lost parents all talking about their grief is one thing, but do you think that, like, in your head, did you think like, oh, you telling us that is gonna make us feel better?
Right. But I think people in general, and this is why, again, I don't, if someone wants to bring up their miscarriage to me, and that's the other thing that a lot of people in the loss community have to understand, like a miscarriage is early term, like that is first trimester. Stillbirth is when you're at viability. So I think that's 24 weeks plus. Like if your baby is born and they're healthy, they have the chance of survival. They don't all survive, but if like they're in the NICU and the stars fucking align, your baby has a chance of survival outside the womb at 24 weeks. And that's why I think it gets a little bit tricky when people try to compare miscarriages to stillbirths or late trimester losses, because physically they're different. You're dealing with different things. But to what I was saying before, I don't think that she's trying to necessarily say like, I get what you're going through. I think people are just looking for connection. And so it's not to hurt someone or be like, oh, I went through just as much pain as you. I think it's more about creating some bond, which I get. And so again, because that's the worst pain that that person might have ever experienced, that's valid. I've never shamed someone for comparing my loss to theirs, but it's something that I personally don't do because I hated it when people would do it to me.
Yeah, just leave me the fuck alone. Honestly, her saying that, I'm just like, dude, I'm just fucking.
Were you in the room? You weren't in the room.
You told me. I don't know. Whatever.
Like,
I'm sure I was there.
Didn't love it, but at the same time, I was like, I hate that she went through something that was so painful for her. Because again, that's probably the worst thing that she's ever experienced. Again, I can't imagine going through it at an even later gestation. So it's just like, you just can't compare. You just don't compare your grief.
Just like hearing like women talk about that. I wonder like guys, like what are we like? I don't know any other guys who've gone through it or really talk about it. I don't know. Like are we this open or do we kind of just like, hey, been there, you know?
Why do you think you don't want to talk about it? Do you think it makes you feel too vulnerable or like?
No, dude, come on. I'm a fucking open book. I'm sensitive and
Are you, John?
I'm an emotional being. It's not that we've talked about it.
Right, but
I just don't feel the need to talk to like strangers about it. I don't fucking know you. You know, like what is this doing? We're having a good time and you're like, hey.
But that's what I mean when I'm saying that I think people are just looking for connection.
I don't want that connection.
Right.
That is a connection I don't want to have. And like how we've had people in the lost community be like, this is a group that no one wants to be a part of. And unfortunately we are in. Like, I still like, it's not something I want to like kumbaya over.
I mean, I don't know. I think to each their own, which is just, maybe that's what we put on a shirt these days. Instead of put me in a home, it's to each their own, because we have met people in the lost community who I'm so grateful that they've reached out because they've actually given me tools to help cope.
I agree. I get it. I did have, when I visited my friends in Florida, and I had a waitress come up to me and like give me a hug, and she cried and was like, I've been through this. Like, I felt good that I was there to support her, I guess. And that's how I looked at it. And which I should have looked at it both ways. Like, you're comforting me, but I want to comfort other people's. I don't want to be comforted. I don't know.
Well, do you feel like you've truly like processed your grief?
I think so, because it's not like I'm affected by it daily. I'm only really affected by it when like I see some sappy ass video or like you're upset.
Well, I don't think grief is like that though. It's not linear, or like where I think in the beginning you think about it every day and it impacts you, but over time, and that's
people
what
be
they
like, John needs to go to fucking therapy.
I mean, say it. Everybody in the comments, tell John therapy.
I don't know. I mean, sure. I guess I could talk to someone else about it. I'm open about it. Like if I'm open to talking to you about it. If I saw a therapist, I would say the same exact thing to the therapist as I'm saying to you. Maybe she would have some better tools to cope, but like even if I get upset about it, I'm still self-regulated. I still know like this will pass, or like, and it's okay to grieve too in whichever way you want. There's nothing wrong. Like why do I have to go to therapy because I feel sadness sometimes? It's not affecting my day-to-day. It's not affecting my relationships with anyone.
And no, I think that that's a normal human emotion. And that's the thing with grief too, is it's not linear. It will hit you at any time.
Right.
And it's not that it gets easier with time. You just become stronger as a person, and it's just something that you learn to carry with you over time.
Right.
But when you're in the thick of it, fucking sucks.
Brutal.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think that everybody has an experience around grief. Not everybody, which is the tough thing about, you know, having conversations with certain people in your life that haven't experienced this pain. But sometimes people just want to talk about it, and I don't blame them. And that's my point of just being like, while it's not, I don't think it's great to compare each other's griefs. I do enjoy hearing other people's stories about what they've experienced and gone through, because it makes me feel less alone.
I get that. I understand.
You want me to go to the next question?
Let's talk about grief.
I've heard loss can tear couples apart. How did you manage to protect your relationship and marriage to prevent that from happening?
You're obviously like my whole world, right? Like, so if you're, get away from me.
Come here.
No, but I mean, like, why would something like that tear you apart? That's how I know, like, there are reasons why, but like my brain didn't go there at all. I'm like, we're in crisis mode. My wife needs me. I'm there no matter what. Whatever it takes, I'm there. And like everything else doesn't fucking matter. It's weird. Don't cry. That's weird. You're being weird.
What
I'm so awkward. Weird? I don't know. You're making me uncomfortable.
John is like the most in tune emotional like person, like self-regulated with your emotions. As soon as we're in front of people or in front of like the mics or cameras, you're like, this is weird. It's not weird.
Okay.
Hold my hand.
Tears. How many episodes? We're gonna just cry. You're gonna get sad on every episode.
This is us now, John.
People are just enjoying their day, and now they're like hearing the podcast. They're like, well, this just fucking.
Like, we're unsubscribing.
I'm on brunch. I'm on lunch.
Straight used to be fun, and now it's just sad. No, these are happy tears because we've come out on the other side, John. These are happy tears, happy tissues.
Yeah. But I never looked at it like that it would break us.
Yeah.
No.
But I think communication sometimes lacks during loss or times of grief, that people don't know how to reconnect again. But I think our communication, which we haven't sang yet.
Communication. That's a big ass spider on the wall.
That's actually one of the smallest spiders I've ever seen.
We should say once, and we've been on several podcasts talking about this, but we'll say it one more time because I feel like it needs to be said. Moments of grief, how we grieve differently, because I don't think we talked about it last time. When we were in crisis mode, and I mean, there was days I couldn't get you out of bed, couldn't get you to eat. Like, there was, rightfully so, you had some resentment, I think, because I wasn't grieving at that time. And it wasn't until you spoke with like your therapist about it, like, what'd she say to you?
Well, we went to a grief counselor together because I was like, I think it's important that, like, I have a therapist who I've been seeing for years, but I was like, it might be helpful to go to a grief counselor who specializes in this so we can have these open conversations and see how to like reconnect as a couple. Because there was a moment where I was like, do you even care?
Right.
Because I felt like you didn't. And so we had the meeting with our grief counselor and I was explaining how I was grieving so hard. And John, I just feel like I wasn't getting the same level of emotion out of you. And she turned it back on me and was like, do you think that you would be okay if he was grieving as hard as you were grieving? And in that moment, I had a realization where I envisioned if you were grieving as hard as I was, and then I feel like I would have to step up for you. And not that you didn't deserve that platform, but I just don't think
right now.
We both could have been grieving so heavily. And so I think realizing that I had to heal first and that it was kind of in waves and in a process. And once you saw that I was okay, that's really when you took the moments to
when I knew that
grieve.
You were on the up. I felt more comfortable, and then I was able to process more myself. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm gonna, on a lighter note, that grief counselor was kind of bullshit, to be honest. I was like, this is the biggest waste of time. She was saying, I'm like, do you listen to our fucking?
But was it a waste of time if it helped me, like if it helped me realize how you were grieving? I don't think it was a waste of time.
Cool. She said one thing.
And
epiphany.
If that's all that you get in therapy, that's all that matters. $150
I was
later.
like, I'm listening to her. I'm like, do you listen to our podcast? Everything you're saying, well, communication, and it comes in waves. I'm like, the fuck? I'm going to be, no, I'm not going to say that.
No, John did say that after, though. He's like, I'm just going to be a fucking therapist. I'm like, okay, John, yeah.
I am a therapist, not
a mental therapist.
A mental therapist? A psychologist?
Yeah.
No, I probably couldn't do that. Maybe I could. I don't know.
John, you could do anything you put
I
your
love
mind
Dr.
to.
John.
You could do anything.
That's
you put
not
your
me.
mind to.
Side note, it's not me. Psychologist, everyone like, I know I can't fucking do it. I know your job is valid. I'm just saying, this one lady we talked to, I was like, we're paying how much? This is kind of bullshit. But anyways.
I think it was helpful, but at the same time, yes, we grieve differently on different timelines. And for us, I think what kept us together was knowing that all we had was each other during that. John was the only other person who knew exactly what I was experiencing, and same vice versa. And so we had to lean on each other to get through that, communicate, and move on.
Through thick and thin, lady.
I know, that's what our wedding vows are for. And that's like what comes into play. It's like good times end in bad. Got to think about those times.
What were we looking at? We were watching Love Island or something the other day. And I'm looking at these young couples and just like, look at the spark in their eyes. Like this potential. No problems, potentially dating. I'm like, I never want to go back to that time. We went through war and we've been through so much together. I'm like, I don't think I can ever find that with someone else. But also I wouldn't want to. I don't want to do all that over again. Fuck.
I know, but sometimes
You have to
don't have a choice
learn-
though. Like you lose a spouse and
never
you
get married
get
again.
back out there.
I'll never get married again.
You say that now. Okay, next question. I lost my mom at a young age and believe in God, and I know she's in heaven and she's not in pain anymore. However, I'm now getting married and I'm seeing everyone else with their mom coming to these events, and it really saddens me. It is just now setting in that I will never have her for any of my important life events. Any advice on how to get through this? We've gone through, we used to be in the wedding industry. John and I were wedding filmmakers, if some of you haven't known that, or if some of you didn't know that. There were so many creative ways that people would still incorporate their parents who have passed into their day, whether it was sewing a piece of mom's dress into their dress or keeping a picture of dad in the bouquet. And I think that during these big life events, these are going to be extremely challenging times in your life for you. And I can't speak on experience. So like, I might not have the best advice on how to do this. Like, again, and this whole episode, like, you have to remember that this is through the lens of us. Like, our grief is from the lens of losing a baby, like not a living child, not a sibling, not a parent. And so I think there's ways that you can still incorporate your mom so that she's not forgotten throughout these days, whether it's her favorite flower, a picture of her that you continuously like bring throughout these events, her favorite song. There's a lot of ways
to do a prayer in her name if you want to.
Keeping her memory alive, or just like, what was her favorite dessert? Like serve that at the wedding, or, you know, these events that you have.
Light a candle for her.
But I'm not, light a candle for her. But I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, like there's ways to get through it and it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be fucking hard.
There's ways to get by.
Yeah. But I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
And again, congratulations on these life events. But I think, you know, maybe confide in someone else who has lost a parent and see how they were able to incorporate their parent through these milestones in their life. Any advice, John? Or did you just want me to take the floor for all these questions?
Yeah, that's fine. I said candle. Is there like a happy question?
No, not a single one. Okay, but this is a good one. It's not happy though. Do you find yourself ever feeling resentful towards friends or family that haven't experienced such profound loss like you have? I lost my mom last year when I was 26. I often find myself having angry feelings towards friends who haven't experienced loss. I have friends who haven't lost a grandparent yet, let alone a parent. I feel guilty for feeling that way because I know it's not their fault and I don't wish this on them. I just feel like they don't have a deep understanding of the world as maybe I do now. It makes it harder for me to feel like we can relate on other levels without this shared experience. Is this something you guys have experienced?
That doesn't bother me. I think I more would have resentment towards someone through action. If they're saying something or doing something that's like triggering to you for that. I mean,
I don't know, maybe because, again, you physically didn't go through the loss, but I can relate to this for sure. Because
you feel resentful when like some people have had like a healthy pregnancy.
Mm-hmm. And like, I think when people take for granted the healthy pregnancy or the kids that they do have, and I'm like, what I would give, you know, but you only have that perspective, again, similar to you losing a parent, because you went through that loss. So I understand exactly what you mean. It's just like, it's a type of pain that
I guess if they're, but that's what I was saying then. If they're, prime example, don't resent them, but if they come back and they're complaining, like someone who has a kid and they're complaining like they're stressed with this kid or like they don't have help, whatever. It's like, you have a healthy child and you're complaining about just things that aren't fucking important.
Right. But I just think it's a natural human emotion. It's like, even if they don't complain, to just think like, why me? And again, those are inside thoughts, because I actually spoke to my therapist about this.
Sense
yeah, where I'm just like, it's not even necessarily resent for me. It's more envy. And I'm like, why the fuck did I have to go through this and experience this pain? And you didn't. Like, you don't even take care of yourself. Or like, you know, you start going through this whole thing of, you know, why do they deserve this happy quote unquote thing. But
and it's not saying you want to think,
No.
it just happens. We're fucking human. Yeah.
And the thing is too, like, I would never wish this on anyone, like you said, but you just do feel this disconnect because they don't actually understand your pain, and they won't unless they go through it. But what I've also realized is that they haven't gone through this pain ... yet. And it might not be the same exact pain, but nobody is immune to tragedy. Nobody is immune to going through loss at some point in their life. And I think that's just the circle of life, is that people will experience some type of grief in a different capacity. So that's, again, going back to, you can't compare because your experience is just going to be so different. Like, and it's so easy to look at what you don't have versus what you do have.
Right.
So I don't want to be like toxically positive here, but it's easier to get through those moments of envy, jealousy, resentment when you just look at the things that you do have.
You're such a good speaker. God.
Thanks, Jon. It's
You're
because I
just
have
like
so much
naturally
practice.
raw talented. It's fucking annoying.
It's just therapy. I'm really just repeating.
You're
things
like,
I've learned in
you're a
therapy
good
and
speaker.
books.
You're creative. You're attractive. You're an athlete. And I'm over here like, you play instruments? I got Alex a fucking electric piano or whatever it's called. You know what? When I was a kid, I had a recorder. And my sister, did we talk about this? My sister's playing
Wait, I'm just like, is this a pity party for you? Like, you're complimenting me, but it's like a backhanded compliment. You're like, and I'm a loser.
No. I just think it's bull. You're good for you.
Okay, now let me take the floor and compliment Jon. Jon has a really nice mustache. I wish my mustache looked that,
Keep
that
going.
nice. No.
Honestly, I'm just trying to lighten the mood. Can I just tell a funny story?
Sure.
I need this. Jen, my sister, plays the clarinet, killing it as a kid. Playing what's this one? Violin, I think. Yeah.
Cello?
Doing it. And my parents said, let's get Jon into it.
Like the tambourine.
So Jen's one room doing the violin, and my parents look over. I have the recorder. I'm like, hot cross buns, and I have all this spit and drool coming out the other end of the fucking recorder.
That's what happens if you play clarinet too. You got to clear that shit out.
I'm just saying, I think it's bullshit that some people get all the natural talent.
Jon, you're
and
naturally talented.
I'm just saying, it's annoying. I want some of this to rub off on me. I want you to rub it off on me.
I will absolutely do that later.
All right, continue with this depressing shit.
No, I just think that your feelings are valid. They're very normal. But the way to try to get past that, not that you asked, because you just asked if it was something we experienced. And yes, personally I have, is you just have to look. You can't compare, knowing that people will experience tragedy down the road as well. Or, and hopefully not.
Everyone's going to get it.
But that nobody's immune to it. It doesn't mean that they also haven't experienced some loss earlier in their life that you just don't know about.
There's a clock. We're all going to punch out one day.
That's depressing. And then see, like, that's more depressing, Jon. You go, let's make this happy. We're all going to die.
What's it from? The Departed. What did Jack Nicholson say? He's like, we're all going to die. Act accordingly. It's a good line.
Yeah.
Then he snapped Leonardo DiCaprio's arm.
I don't think I saw that movie.
You never saw The Departed?
I don't know. Is it like a really old movie?
What's really old?
You.
Okay. Next question.
This one is specifically for you, Jon. My partner and I recently each lost a parent due to cancer. I tend to process my grief out loud. I like to communicate how, when, why I'm feeling sad, and it's often. While my partner doesn't really see the benefit for himself in terms of sharing how sad he may be feeling at any given point. If anything, he feels like it will make him more sad to keep talking about being sad. I want to be mindful about the ways in which he prefers to process his grief, but I keep feeling like we're missing out on ways in which this could bring us together more. Could be all in my head, but any advice on navigating grief with your partner that processes trauma in a different way, that would be super helpful.
So the first part of that, if him as a person hasn't changed at all and you don't see any differences, like, let him grieve the way he wants to grieve. But to the second part where, like, you think this could bring you together, I would express that. I mean, I think I understand where you're coming from, and it could bring you more together, but you do need to tread lightly, because you don't want to push that onto him if he really doesn't want to talk about it. I mean, for what? Like, he doesn't want to reopen a wound, but he's your partner. If it's going to make you feel better, you gotta meet halfway on that. How do you meet halfway on that?
Well, I think it's a balance of asking him what he needs and just respecting his process, because you can't push someone into grieving how you grieve or healing quicker, like everyone also has different relationships with the people who they are grieving. And so that might make it a little bit more complex. Not saying like he didn't have a good relationship with his parent who passed, but I just think that everyone has a different process for how they grieve, depending on who it is, what their relationship is, and who they are as an individual. It's a very personal journey. And the one thing that we were told while we were grieving is that there's no right or wrong way.
Right.
So his way isn't wrong. It's just different from yours.
Why don't you spin this differently? Instead of grieving together to come closer, maybe there's something you could do to come closer together, maybe celebrating their lives instead of talking about the depressing shit, the grief of them dying, just like, or what's good about having one parent. I don't know. There's another way to connect versus connecting over grief.
Mm-hmm. Again, and I think him saying too, like talking about your sad feelings keeps you sad. And I think that like, yeah, while you do need to get those feelings out of your body, I think there's studies based on, the more that you talk about your problems, the more problems that you have. And not saying that like compares necessarily to grief, but that just might be, again, his process, and that he's thinking that if I just think happier thoughts or don't address this, like I'll just be a happier person.
I'm also trying to compare myself to him in this situation. I'm like, but I'm different because I talk about it.
But it's not
it seems like he hasn't talked about it at all. Like, I feel better talking to you about, like, I've gotten it all out. I have spoken about it. I have gotten to my feelings about it. Like, has he at all? We don't know. Mm-hmm. And that's different. Like, if he's just kept it all in, like, that could be bad.
I think when to address it is if he's struggling personally in his
that's
life.
That's what I said in the beginning. Exactly.
Yeah. Like if you see that he is not able to function anymore because he's holding it and it's turning into depression, that's when I think you need to take action. But right now, it might just be too soon to really intervene in something that he's just trying to process on his own. It's a very personal journey.
Did they just lose them?
It said that my partner and I recently each lost a parent due to cancer.
Oh, then, yeah, wait a little bit. You both are grieving differently. Yeah, for sure.
But maybe you could ask him, what are ways that you feel comfortable celebrating this parent?
How about not worry about his grief at all right now because it's fresh? But you could ask him, like, how do you want to be comforted? Like, from your partner.
Right.
You can ask him about that, or like, figure that out, what's ever going to try to make you feel better, because he should want to help you with that. But don't start trying to get him to hash out stuff right now. Let him come into his own about it.
Yeah. And again, I think just respecting that you both are going to have different grieving journeys, at least for now. Good job,
Look
Jon.
At us. Good for both of us.
Yeah.
Good
job.
Us.
All right, next question. I want to bring to light PTSD and how it has impacted me. A couple of years ago, I was in a car accident, and highway driving has never been the same for me. It took me a while to get myself back on the highway, and I thought I was making progress, but now I feel like I'm regressing. I get the worst panic attacks imaginable while I'm driving, and honestly, probably shouldn't be driving at all. I waited 2.5 years to book myself a therapist appointment for this issue. I guess my question is, why do we wait so long to finally try to heal from traumatic events? Why do we think we can be strong when in reality, we need the most support we can get?
I don't think you're waiting so long. I think you're waiting until until you process it, right? It's like when you know you're ready, you'll be ready to deal with something.
I think that's even like a breakup. Like, why did I wait so long to leave this relationship? Because you finally hit your point of enough. Like
right.
You finally get to your breaking point. And that's what it is. It's like,
why did it take me so long to get over somebody? Like after, because you're still healing from whatever that was.
And you're obviously going to try to process it on your own without outside sources first to see like what you can manage until it gets to be overbearing. But personally, a situation like this, and I'm glad that you're okay from this accident, but I think trauma that's very physical, I spoke about this a little bit on the last episode, but therapy that really helped me was EMDR. And again, it's like going back into that memory, like reprocessing that trauma. And it's a lot of work. It's exhausting. It's very emotionally taxing, and it might not be for everyone, but I think that it's a tool to look into to potentially help you with your panic attacks. Because for me, I've never had a panic attack in my life ever.
That was scary.
Until losing Leo. And honestly, before having a panic attack, before experiencing one myself, if someone was telling me that they were having a panic attack, I'd be like, about what? Like, you're safe, nothing's happening. But it's like your internal system, just you feel it coming on. It's like a mix of like your mental, and you're like, I know I'm safe, but my body doesn't feel safe right now. And so I thought after processing that, I would be okay, like after, a few months of losing Leo, but I started having them again when I was working out. Like my heart rate would get so elevated and my body would get back into that state where it's like, you're not safe, you're losing your son, you're back in this, you're back in this very elevated, heightened state of anxiety. And I would have panic attacks and I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do about this. Then I found out I was pregnant and I was like, I can't continue to move forward if I can't even have control over my body. And that's when I learned about EMDR. So it might not be the best option for you, but I would look into it. And I don't think that you should feel guilt for waiting so long to get therapy, to get the support that you needed. I think you were just doing your best and trying to deal with it on your own at first.
Also, yeah, don't go on the highway right now. If you're like, that's not something you rip the Band-Aid off for because you don't want to cause harm to yourself or others. So take back roads at this point. I mean, until you think you're comfortable, like shit, you don't want to risk injuring anyone. So,
well, not a fun one, but an interesting one that I thought that you might want to answer.
Another question?
Just a short one. Do you think your grieving process would have been different if you weren't influencers?
I don't know. It probably would have been, I hate to admit, almost worse. Because I feel like I had to readjust real quickly for some reason, like going out in public or whatever. Like I don't know. Like I think if I was what I was doing 5 years ago, I probably would have just sat in my house, gone to work, gone home, and just been miserable.
Yeah,
and not have gotten up every day to overcome what we went through.
I think reading this question, it like made me reflect on just like our jobs as content creators who are influencers. And I think when we had initially gone through loss and we were taking time off, I could not be more thankful for the ability and the blessing that we had to be able to take time off. I kept thinking about people who like, or if you and I, our regular jobs when we were wedding filmmakers, if we had to show up to a booked wedding, I don't know that I mentally would have been able to handle that.
Right.
Like, while I do think it's important to get back into your life and your routine.
You need a fucking minute.
You need a minute. And that's all that I kept thinking about was just like, I can't imagine going back to work and just pretending postpartum that things were okay. And I think that's another conversation to be had about just, help for parents in general, whether it's after loss or just parents in general in the fucking US, like that's another conversation to be had. But being influencers, I found that once we were to a place to like quote unquote get back to our jobs, it was healing in a sense because we were able to find a community. And when we were putting out these videos that had an undertone of dark humor, I felt more connected to people than I ever had. And I don't know that I would have found that community if we weren't.
I guess now I'm being hypocritical because seeing the positive feedback we got helped me, right? Before we had a platform, who would we get any sort of feedback from? Our parents and like our small
Not
friend
just that,
group?
like we didn't know anyone who had gone through a loss that we had.
Right.
It was maybe one or two people in like our actual community that we knew.
So I guess the exposure did help.
Yeah, because not that I can answer every message that we get, but like I read like a lot of them that come through and the stories, and I'm just like, the fact that so many people can relate and connect over very similar situations, I felt like personally it helped my grieving process because we were able to reach a larger community to feel less alone, but in a weird way.
Yeah. Weird times, weird depressing times. I don't know. It's hard to navigate.
It's so hard. And again, it's like people are just like, you just.
Can we talk about something for a second? And it really pissed me off. I remember seeing some comments where they were like, well, this is what you get for announcing your pregnancy on social media.
I think those are just troll accounts
like,
looking for.
You all can go fuck yourselves, because anyone, whether you're an influencer, a regular person, doesn't matter. Like, you're showing, you have friends and family on social media. You're just showing them what you're excited about. It's not like we were doing it so we can gain clout from it. We're just like anyone else.
Right.
And it just fucking really irked the shit out of me that some dumb little fuckhead behind his keyboard would say something like that. I'm like, how, you don't fucking know me.
Well, I think, again, it's troll accounts who are just looking for a reaction, but I do.
Oh, you got one.
Yeah. I think too, we stay out of the comment section as often as we can, but going through grief, it heightened things so much.
Yeah.
Like, people just say the most horrible things. And like, again, 99% of the feedback that we got, but we also got a lot of negativity when we announced our pregnancy the first time, you know? And people believe in the evil eye and whatnot. And I just think that keep your negative thoughts to your fucking self. But some people can't help themselves because they're negative. They're just horrible, sad people. But the other thing that I didn't expect was like the lack of self-awareness. There was someone who like would probably 3 weeks after losing Leo, someone who I'm not really friends with sends me a picture of their newborn and goes, "Can't wait to meet Aunt Alex." I'm like, number one,
fucking tone deaf.
Read the room. Like, we're not that close where I need to see a picture of your newborn. Or, you know, sending family photos in the group chat, like, of everybody's newborns. Like, then don't be surprised when I send my son's urn in the family group chat. Like, it's just, when people are grieving, just read the room. And I know it's hard unless you've really experienced loss, but it's one of the most painful things that someone can go through. And to anyone out there who's grieving, I hope that it gets better for you, because I feel for us personally, the heavy pain did not last forever. It still comes. It comes in waves, but it's not as often. And I think that in itself is a win.
Yay.
And just know that people are idiots. You're going to have very uncomfortable conversations. Oh, wait. On that note, I know this episode is so fucking long already, but there was a poem about grief that really helped me understand and navigate. And I wanted to read it to you guys. It's called Love Came First by Donna Ashworth. You don't move on after loss, but you must move with. You must shake hands with grief, welcome her in, for she lives with you now. Pull her a chair at the table and offer her comfort. She is not the monster you first thought her to be. She is love. And she will walk with you now, stay with you now, peacefully, if you let her. And on the days when your anger is high, remember why she came. Remember who she represents. Remember, grief came to you, my friend, because love came first.
Well said.
Ooh, wow. What's your rec for the week, Jon?
Jesus. Is that the next thing? Is that the next category in the podcast?
Yeah. After that one wrecked me.
Oh, you know what? And I was like, oh yeah, and I forgot one thing we did. I got a tattoo.
Oh yeah, you did. In remembrance of Leo.
I did.
Why are you taking off your shoe for it?
Because this is my rec.
Oh.
CVs. And the reason why this is my rec, I have like 6 different pairs of these. They hands down are the most comfortable shoes from first wear. If we're gonna get a lot of shoes and like my pinky toe goes numb or something, most comfortable shoe. Also gives me a little height.
Do they?
Yeah, look at the like 2 inches.
I knew I was like looking up like a fourth of a centimeter.
'Cause I'm just a good stature of a man.
Right, and today's Fun Shirt Jon Day.
Fun Shirt Jon Day and CV Shoe Day. So CVs, SEAVEES, really good shoes.
Not
Go get
sponsored. My rec is Paradise on Hulu. I don't know if we talked about that.
So
did we?
good.
Maybe we did last episode. I don't remember. I can't remember.
I don't think I just been telling everyone to watch it.
I know it's so good, and
Kind
I
of
feel
spooked me.
I feel like I don't know if that it was marketed really. I didn't see much on it until someone else told me. They were like, "You should watch the show." Unless we're
No,
late
our
to the
friends
game.
Durafest, they promoted it.
Did they?
Yeah, they went to the premiere or something of it.
Were-
Is it on Hulu or Amazon?
Yeah, it's Hulu. It's so good.
So good.
Anyway,
we won't ruin it, but it's
that's
like
it.
post-apocalyptic kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just another one of those shows, you know?
Why'd you say it like that?
Like a post-apocalyptic show. Just another one. But a
Side
good
note,
one.
we haven't watched 28 Years Later. I really want to see that. Apparently, the only big thing from this movie is there's some zombie with a horse cock and he's chasing people around. So I know Alex wants to see that.
Jon, they hired you for the movie?
Did we talk about Sinners on the podcast?
No, we should next time.
No, I just real
We
quick.
don't have time.
Yes, we got
Thank
plenty
you
of
so
time.
much for tuning into our episode.
Alex wanted to see this movie Sinners so bad with Michael B. Jordan. I'm like,
Well, I heard great reviews. And I was like,
is that all you heard?
Well, no, I just didn't hear much about it other
Don't
than
kill the punchline.
that it was good. So I was like, okay, let's go see it.
Kept asking. I'm like, okay, let's go. We go see it.
I never watched the trailer.
The first 2 minutes, opening scene, there was like a jump scare or something. She fucking looks at me. If you guys are watching this was her. She goes, "Did you know this wasn't a fucking comedy?" She thought we were going to a comedy movie. I'm like, it's called Sinners. There's fucking redneck zombies.
Dude, I was not expecting the jump. Like, it scared me. So I hate scary movies. I covered my eyes. I'm like, what the fuck movie is this? What the fuck are we watching? And John's like, this
Honestly,
is a scary movie. And I'm like,
I'm not saying it was a bad movie, but just in general, Alex is like 0 and 7 with movies.
No, I mean, I still enjoyed it, but it threw me once
just
they were
choosing movies for like the
spoiler
wrong.
alert. So if you haven't seen it, it really threw me for a loop when they were vampires. I was like, what in the Twilight is going on? No clue. I was so lost, but like, it was great.
Where's Taylor Lautner?
It was good.
Where's Taylor Lautner when you need him in the werewolf
And it
pack?
wasn't as scary. Like, once they were vampires, I was like, now it's a comedy.
Oh my
So
God.
it was a comedy, honestly.
Well, that's all we have for you. Did you already give your rec? Yeah, you
I
did.
said
Paradise.
All right.
That is all we have for you this week. Alex,
Thank
plug
you
us
guys so
and
much
do
for
the right
tuning
plugs.
into our episode. You can email us at hello@giveittomestraightpodcast.com. You can follow us at Give It To Me Straight Podcast everywhere. My name is Alex. That's Jon. Wait.
Like,
what else?
subscribe, email. That's the only thing I remember I used to say.
I feel like I need to listen to
hello, give it to me straight. You said that?
Yeah. And then if you want to ask us advice, you could click the link in our show notes, go on our website.
And on
I don't
Instagram.
know.
Are we going to ask questions on
I just
Instagram?
said follow us there, whatever.
Wow.
This is
Do
the worst
better.
outro
Do better.
ever. Okay.
And we'll see you next week. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.